with teams starting to cut their players, who are the 5 players that I would like the New York Jets to bring back on the practice squad if they clear waivers? You have to think that the Jets are going to be doing something. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today I want to talk about who are some of the players that I would like to bring back to the practice squad. The New York Jets are well underway with cutting and letting players go. We've already cut 14 guys with the deadline soon approaching, and as we all know, the New York Jets and every other football team is going to be trying to fill up their practice squad with the best talent possible. And there were 5 players that have already been cut. And I think of the players that I project that will get cut, that I think the New York Jets should prioritize and try to bring back to the practice squad. Because in case of an emergency, in case of injury, I would love to see these guys elevated to the main team as the backup and the depth that I believe that they can be. Now, some of the names that won't be on here are some of the guys that I honestly and legitimately want to see starting on an NFL roster. Guys like Tanzel Smart, who are probably going to get cut, and unfortunately, I don't want him on our practice squad. I want him starting for an NFL team. I think that he's earned that. So, with all of that being said, let's talk about my 5 guys that I would like for the New York Jets to bring back on the practice squad. Number 1, and would be the priority for me, would be undrafted free agent out of Florida, the safety, Trey Dean III. I love Trey Dean and what he's got, and I totally understand why the New York Jets cut him. It makes sense, and the reality is that maybe the New York Jets fan base, including myself, overvalue Trey Dean and his ability on this football team. The Jets believe that he'll clear waivers, and I'm going to have to believe that they think that the other teams are going to overlook a box safety who can tackle really well. But if he does clear waivers, I would love for the New York Jets to bring back Trey Dean. We're not going to have Adrian Amos next year. We're not going to have some of these guys in the safety room next year, and I think Trey Dean can play a pretty good role in the future, not this year. So if it was up to me, I would bring back Trey Dean. Number 2 would be, again, if he doesn't get picked up, and I don't think that he will, I think he fits that role of running back 5 incredibly well, and that's running back Bam Knight. We all kind of expected that Bam wasn't going to make the roster. It didn't make sense for a guy with his skill set to do so. But as a guy who can get called up at a moment's notice, knows the system, knows the playbook, and can play pretty well in a pinch, that's a pretty good skill set to have, and I would love to see him stay with the New York Jets. Number 3, a guy that I actually kind of was impressed with all of this offseason in terms of maybe the value and the depth that he can provide, is cornerback Craig James. I didn't expect for him to really stand out in any kind of meaningful way. But as a depth cornerback option, I know that our top 3 are excellent, some of the best in the NFL, and Brandon Echols is a really high-level backup. But behind Brandon Echols, we don't have much in terms of, potentially good players, really. And while Craig James falls into that, I liked Craig James. And I thought, you know what? He's not that bad to keep around, and I thought maybe he might stick. He didn't, but I would love to see him back on the practice squad because at least he can do something. Moving on is wide receiver Alex Erickson. You could see that he was making a push for the roster towards the end of camp. And with the news that Jason Brownlee is making the 53-man roster and the expectation that Xavier Gipson will also be making the 53-man roster, I would love for the New York Jets to be able to keep Alex Erickson on the practice squad. Injuries happen, and I think in a pinch, he would be more than capable to come in, fill a special teams role, fill in that wide receiver 6, short, shifty guy in the slot kind of role, which we kind of have a ton of those guys on the roster. And if you want to replace any one of those guys that gets hurt like that, Alex Erickson, I think, is a more than serviceable backup to the backups in that case. And last but not least, this player hasn't officially been cut yet, but my expectation is that the New York Jets are waiting to cut him at the witching hour, at the 11th hour, the final opportunity that they can. And that's edge rusher Deslin Alexander out of Pitt, the undrafted free agent rookie. I think he's got something there, and I think that his skill set can turn into something. And one of the things that I think that the New York Jets are really going to prioritize is depth at the edge room. We've seen that over the last couple of years. 2 first-round picks in the edge room, taking another edge in one of those same drafts that we drafted one in the first round. Following that up by bringing in an undrafted free agent out of Pitt in Deslin Alexander. I think that we're going to be always bringing in competition for the edge room. And I think Deslin Alexander is a guy that maybe not this year, but maybe next year when we talk about losing the likes of Carl Lawson and Bryce Huff, maybe he can fill the bottom end of the roster and provide some value in that rotation that the New York Jets love to use. A surprised 6th, hey, if he sticks around, that'd be cool. If not, is Pita Tumapenu, the outside linebacker. I think that he's got some NFL skill sets, and I think that if he could stick with a good coaching staff like the New York Jets have across the defensive line, I think maybe this time he sticks in the NFL. Who knows? But that's just a little surprise bonus 6th person there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who would you like to see the New York Jets keep on the practice squad? Is there any players from other teams that you would like to stash on the practice squad? Let me know in the comment section below. And last but not least, go Jets.